I was asked to talk about relationships specifically. Eleanor joining a mainstream school was a big thing. And we were really lucky because there was a student educational psychologist round the time that Eleanor was about to start school, and she said, let's set up a circle of friends. So in 2006, there's Eleanor, aged 11, with some of the circle of friends. Fantastic. They had responsibility to make sure that Eleanor was included at break times, and they really took to that responsibility. Here in 2011, yes, those girls are 16, not 25, but they're at the prom, and that group of young women had lunch every day. And you look at this, they're actually holding Eleanor up. Eleanor, it was quite a deep sofa, and Eleanor would have fallen over if they weren't there. There's an identical one with some blokes, but sorry, I am her mother. I think the other thing that we did, and one of the fantastic things with these young people, they just see everything so simply. So when we started talking about work, if we talked about adults about work, they started kind of popping pills and stuff. And it's like, you talk to the young people, and at first they were like, would she cope? And I said, well, she'll always have somebody to kind of help her. Do you know, we did some planning. They came up with 70 different job suggestions. 70. About 6 different businesses Eleanor could do, because they knew Eleanor. And they didn't see any of the barriers that we put on. They just were like, oh, she could do this. I mean, my favourite was to be a roadie for McFly, but that didn't actually happen. But as I say, just ideas and creativity. So we took up some of their ideas. One, building up relationships and experiences, finding out what works. So, for example, one of her work experiences, she's already at this pool for her therapy sessions, so she did some work experience there. She went to the salon at a local special school. I love this picture because it really shows how you can help Eleanor get involved in things, but it didn't work as a placement because Eleanor likes people and it was too quiet. So it was, again, it's fine. Things don't have to be perfect all the time. Her favourite placement was this one, and this was at a local nursery school. Now, she sings, and we tell her off if she sings nursery rhymes normally. But obviously she could sing nursery rhymes to her heart's content there, and she absolutely loved it. And that's something, and why? Because there were people, because there were young kids, because there were songs, that kind of worked. And for me, it's okay sometimes for things not to work because it helps you remember what works. And for me, you should always try things out. I'll talk about her package in a minute because everybody seems to be very interested in that. She has 5 glamorous assistants. They don't have to wear this every day, you'd be pleased to know. They've just run Race for Life. When I was on the train, I'm an accountant as well. I teach accounts on an evening. I told you I had a lot of jobs. I was counting up how long, so we have staff ages range from 19 to 52, and the average length of time that those young women have known Eleanor is about 6 years. And I think there's something about that with parents, that actually recruiting staff is hard. And again, sometimes you have to try things out. I mean, Hannah in the middle has worked very closely with Sarah quite deliberately for the 2-to-1 stuff, mainly because Sarah, who used to be her 1-to-1 when she's at the mainstream school, is very experienced. And now, just this last month, Hannah's decided to really go for it as a main career. And just now we've started to say, right, okay, yeah, let's do it. But I also charged Hannah with saying, well, okay, what are you going to do on a Thursday and Friday then? And it was Hannah that found the Splat and the Arcadia project. So again, it's that trust and that really slow building up of relationships, so I can feel very confident. We also try very hard to be a good employer. So we try to make sure that we have a relationship, which means that there's open communication. So little problems don't become big ones. So we're talking to each other. And we also we've factored in a full staff meeting once a term. So because again, they're not often working together, they're usually working by themselves. So we recognise that there's times when you have to kind of get together and think, okay, oh my God, how do you deal with this and how do you deal with that? Okay, we're getting to the end of the programme. She has funding till March 2013 and we're about to start planning. We've got an SDAQ questionnaire to fill in next week with a social worker. Can't wait. But I've been reflecting about sort of what's worked and why, what's been successful. So I drew this diagram. Eleanor's outcomes are the key. If it's meeting her outcomes, that's fine. The second thing is, and I'm very wary of saying to other parents, yeah, do this, it's great. Because I know that I live in an authority that funds staff activities and transport. If I lived 5 miles up the road in another authority, they'd only do stuff. So I get some parents say, this direct payment stuff, it's a nightmare, it's costing me a fortune, and I'm going, well, why are you having to fork out for transport? Why are you having to fork out for activities? And again, it's making sure that you're following your legal obligations, because again, trade union trained, 1970 Chronic Sick and Disabled Persons Act has those elements in it. So talk to me, and if you start trying to pull the wool over my eyes, I turn into Mrs. Barracuda. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. The other thing is input. So, what had happened was we wanted this thing to continue. Everybody said, oh no, go to this, people like Eleanor go to the special school. So we went to the special school, but we'd kind of said, yeah, you've got a fabulous facility, so what can we do that's like a bit of both? And they said, well, it was quite a bizarre meeting, I have to say. It was one of the most bizarre meetings that I've ever had, and we've had a lot. And she said, the deputy head said, I don't really know why you're here, because we're full in September and we don't do flexibility. So we kind of looked at the connections office and went, so why are we here? And we were kind of stuck then with being unable to access local provision. I've done some lay inspections, and really residential colleges, I would need a lot of convincing that they are the best place to meet Eleanor's outcomes. And I'm not writing them off, because I know for some families they're a lifeline. So again, I take a lot of caveat with it. But for Eleanor at 16, nah, why send her to Doncaster or Dilston? It doesn't make sense to me. So what the authority said to us is that, I tell you what, why don't you homeschool educate her, but we'll put funding in for staff activities and transport. So Eleanor has a package from the YPLA, except it's not called that now, but the people who fund, the government agency that fund FE. This is the support broker who helped us plan, who hadn't ever worked with a child before, but basically with my FE background, I thought we sort of sat down and said, what would an ordinary 16-year-old do at college? How many hours? 16 usually. Some of it has to be 2-to-1. So basically her package is 26 hours, plus she's had a kind of direct payment for accessing social activities since she was about 7, and that's 8 hours. So she's got about 34 hours a week. There's additional fund, so that's the staffing hours. Then there's additional funding for activities and transport. And what's great about it is the flexibility. So for example, they've given us an allocation of £75 a week transport, which is the homeschool bus, but Eleanor goes on the local bus, so that's only costing £4.50. But our authority are happy for us to say, so for example, we do like a trip, a school trip once a term. So next term we're off to Oliver, because she's been in Newcastle, because she's been learning songs for the musical. So we can mix and match as long as it's meeting Eleanor's outcomes. So I'm going to close with just like a little sort of smorgasbord, a patchwork quilt of what Eleanor's done over the year. A few things I was sort of wanting to point out to you, sort of the what's working well and the learning logs from sort of person-centred planning. That's what we've used, although the iPad now has superseded the learning log, so we keep a note on the iPad and the most of the personal assistants are filling it in. Kind of this picture, yeah, we still have to do some of the hard stuff. That's Eleanor's standard. I say, with my counselling head on, I'm really interested in the economic multiplier and how Eleanor's contributing. So she's an employer, she's giving employment, part-time employment to people, but you know, Hartley Potts is a small business, Kate Sears is a small business, so she's also contributing to the local economy. Kate Sears, the singing teacher, also does a bit of personal assistance work as well now, because she wanted to. Which again, for recruitment, sometimes you have to not necessarily go through the regular routes for a recruitment. Friends, so that this is Eleanor at the big gig with the guides and at sixth form. And obviously technology, and I'm still learning a lot about technology. I'm still kind of amazed that you can do what I've just done. Oh, why is it closing off? But you can do that. I just love it. I'm going to have one of when I teach, when I get double entry bookkeeping. And I have to say, with the iPad, without the technical support, it wouldn't work. It's the first bit of like kit that I've actually seen Eleanor really engage with. I think because of the touch screen and the immediate thing. And again, I'm